Hi, and welcome back to the Social Reset Podcast. I have got a extra special episode for you here today. We are talking about the top mistakes that you learned as a business owner in this episode. This is actually an Instagram live replay of a live I did with my friend Sarah from The Simple Flourish. And we're talking about the key mistakes that we made in our businesses when we first started, as well as what we learned. We're also breaking down my anti-failure model, how to not make mistakes mean anything about you or your worth, and also why niching down, building an email list, and all of the other things that are distractions in your first year in business is not your priority, and also what to focus on instead that should be your priority. We also talk about navigating finances and income and starting your new business, and also why it is so powerful for women to attract wild financial abundance because of how they've been excluded in the workplace and financial structures ever since it began. If you're interested in hearing all of these topics and so much more, tune in, continue listening to this Instagram live replay. I hope you love it. Let's dive in. I'm your host, Tiffany Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration, and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone. We're going to be talking about mistakes to avoid while you're in your first year in business or in your first couple months in business, when you're just starting out, when you're just launching. These are the things to avoid. I'm also going to be talking about what to do instead. So I'm going to have my friend Sarah join me in just a moment. Hi, love. How are you doing today?
Hi. Good.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining. So a couple of the mistakes. So we're going to be talking all about mistakes that new business owners make in the first year of business, but essentially when you're first starting out, sharing a couple of our own mistakes as well and what we've learned from them, which I think is really important, hearing it from somebody who's gone before you and has done some of the trial and error. And I do want to say that I think it's so important to make your own mistakes and to be able to allow yourself to fail and be okay with making mistakes and being okay with failing, especially in the very beginning, because that's where you're going to learn the most things about yourself. And if you are attempting to be so calculated and so manicured and everything looks so perfect and put together, you're never going to learn anything. And so I do want to preface by saying that, but I will share one or two things that comes to mind for me, and then I'll pass it off to you and you can share some of the things that are on your mind as well. So the first thing that comes to mind for me as I was thinking about this earlier is expectation error, essentially. It's expecting things that are going to happen so quickly, or instant gratification of expecting things to happen overnight, like expecting an audience overnight, expecting high engagement overnight, expecting to have clients lined up at the door overnight, right? A lot of these things. And if you have those things right away, that's incredible. And you're very blessed and very privileged to have that. But for a lot of people, you are starting with zero, right? When you start your business, there isn't much there. You're building up the building blocks. And so I find a lot of the people that come to me, because I help people activate their businesses, right? So build their businesses from the start, creating, launching, marketing, and they are so immediately discouraged when they're not seeing the results that they want, and they make it mean something about them, which is going to be my second thing that I get into. But the first thing is expecting things right away and having this error in exactly what they're expecting. So even when people are building brick and mortar businesses, or when someone's starting up a business, it is expected for them to either break even or be losing money for a good
time for their first several months before money is coming in. And it's the same thing when you're building a business for yourself, when you're building a personal brand, if you're going into coaching, right? You have to expect that there is going to be some time where you do have to build up your business. You do have to build up that trust, because in the very beginning, people don't know who you are. They don't know what you have to offer. The only things you should be focusing on is showing up really authentically and raw and as human as you could possibly be, and being crystal fucking clear on your brand messaging. You shouldn't be worrying about your engagement. You shouldn't be worrying about the followers. You shouldn't be worried about that, because regardless of how many followers and engagement you have, that doesn't necessarily convert or equal into aligned clients. Somebody said that that's really hard. It totally is. It's hard not to take it personally, and it does take a lot of patience, but it's really good practice, because as an entrepreneur, it's going to be really difficult if you're constantly in it for the short game. You've got to train your mind in order to be in that delayed gratification state rather than the instant gratification, because it doesn't happen like that. You're going to be having some really long days, some really long nights. The second thing I'm going to mention before I pass it off to you is the things that we make it mean about ourselves, right? So we make it mean, if this launch fails, if nobody signs up, if I don't sell out this program, if I don't get it by this deadline, this much money, I'm making it mean something about me. Stop. Do not do that. The more you make it mean something about you, the more discouraged you're going to be, especially when a lot of this is going to be teaching lessons. Allow things to happen in flow, and allow things to happen for you, and allow yourself to learn from it. Not every single thing is meant to be taken personally. So the less you can detach yourself from that outcome, the less that you can attach your worth and who you are and how good of a coach you are to these numbers, these metrics, these finances, the revenue, etc. Detach yourself from that, because it doesn't make or break you. It doesn't make you more or less of a successful coach. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yes. Okay. I love that you said that, because I'm most well known for the fact that I own a social media management agency, but a lesser known fact is that I am a certified life coach. And that is so profound. So I don't know if people understand like how important it is to not let our failures mean anything about us. And so I think you are articulating it a lot better than I was going to. But for sure, in the beginning, expectation mitigation is so huge. And I'm a 1 on the Enneagram, so I'm a perfectionist. It is so hard for me to just let go. B+ work just sounds like the worst thing ever to me. But I've learned along the way, I've pivoted several times in my business. So I didn't start off doing this. And if I had gotten the business that I wanted in the very beginning perfectly, I wouldn't have the business that I have now. And it wouldn't be making what it is now. I wouldn't be connecting with people now. So you don't want perfection in the beginning. You want to be able to grow into whatever it is that you're meant to do.
Absolutely.
We don't know our purpose all the time. If I had nailed my brand in the beginning, like what I thought was luxury and on brand 4 years ago, I would never do. I've stripped my business down several times to get my branding reorganized and everything like that. And so there's a lot of growth as you enter the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah.
And the reason I love watching your content is because I don't think that people think that mindset is actionable. And it is. It's huge. Like, I'm actually one of those people where I'm like, give me a list, tell me what to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm just going to go and do that. But I started my business thinking that all I wanted to do was just be able to make grocery money so that my husband, wouldn't have to take care of everything like that. I had exited corporate America, and I was like, I'm just going to like breastfeed all day and make grocery money. It's fine. And I didn't realize that was selling myself short. So that leads me to my second mistake that I made, and that was hustle culture, feeling like I had to be working 40 hours a week in my own business to be able to deserve profitability. Right. And I hate that now. Like, I hate that I thought that. I spun in that for so long, and that's because my mindset wasn't straight. And I was like, I have a very blue collar family. My parents both worked 40 to 60 hour work weeks.
Yeah.
I, grew up with sitters and after school daycare for that very reason. And I just thought that was like the barrier to entry for success. Right. And it's total BS. It's not. And I have like two toddlers who I locked out of the room and like threw YouTube on for, who get to see me take time off when we need it and be a mom who's also a CEO. And I know that, you know, in your stories last night, you shared super vulnerable moments. And I mean, it's hard. We all come from things like that. And that expectation of having to work X amount of hours to make X amount of dollars is so damaging to our mental health.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we start attaching, like I mentioned, and what you touched on as well, like what we make it mean about us and our worth. And it's because it's also so common that we've just accepted this as a society that I think is also such a damaging thing as well, that this is the only way that people are going to be able to be successful and reach this point that they want to be in their life. And a lot of people end up either leaving corporate and then starting their own businesses and then going, oh my God, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I expected. Like, what am I doing? I'd rather go back to the soul sucking day job. Right. And so I think that's why, especially when I love what I do, I love helping brand new business owners. So people that are either about to leave corporate or just leaving, and they're building out their own coaching business, they're building out their own service-based business. And I'm able to kind of cultivate a really strong, sturdy, and sustainable foundation in order for them to go forwards and create a business that feels good to them, that not only looks good on the outside and generates a shit ton of money, but also feels really good to them and feels fulfilling. And I think that is so extremely important. I wanted to answer a question that I saw in the chat. It said, Tiff, what are the 3 things that you would suggest we focus on outside of followers and engagement? Okay, so like I mentioned earlier to anyone who's just joining now, I said, when you're first starting your business, the thing to focus on should not be the engagement. It should not be how many followers you have, how many people are on your email list, any of those things. It should really be building trust with your community, number 1. I also said earlier, getting really, really crystal clear on your brand messaging. What do you offer? Talk about the transformation. That's going to be really, really important for you moving forward. If people don't know what it is that you offer, they're never going to take action. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It doesn't matter how many times you post. It doesn't matter how great like everything looks or how aesthetic it looks. If people don't know what it is that you can help them get to, this transformational desire point, they're never going to take action. They're never going to reach out to you. Something that I started on really, really early, before I had a website, before I had an email list, before I had freebies, before I had a product suite, before I had a funnel, before I had anything, I just jumped in and started working with clients. I just jumped right into it. I didn't even have a program. I had nothing. I didn't even have a quote unquote business at that time. I had nothing. I just started working with people. I started going, this is what I can help you with. Tell me what you're looking for. And then from there, I was like, okay, I would literally create it as I was going. Like the next week wasn't even planned out. It was literally just like, we would take it as we went. You do not have to have a program to start working with clients. Just start working with them. And this is also going to be really powerful for you in order to recognize who you want to work with and also how you want to help them. Because it's really, as much as it's great to think about all of these things beforehand, you're never really going to know unless you actually start working with people, jumping on sessions, being inside those calls, doing that actual work, supporting them through it. It's never going to be a clear answer to you. You're never going to have that feedback, that yes or no, unless you're actually doing it. So I started there. I jumped right in. I took the leap, and then I was able to refine and adjust. One more question. I'm going to pass it off to you. Liz asks, what do you think is more important, short-term goals or long-term? So it really depends. I would say don't focus on instant gratification. So this should be delayed gratification, but you can still be really focused on your shorter-term goals. I don't plan a year ahead or 2 years ahead or 3 or 5 or 10 years ahead. I'm not a planner. I do not like planning ahead. My arrows in human design point to the right, every single one of them. So there's a lot of flow in my chart. I don't project my revenue. I don't expect or like plan a lot of things out in my business. I don't even know when the next launch is going to be, right? Other than the one that's coming in August that I've been talking about forever. So I would say it just depends on what feels good to you and what your ultimate goal is, right? So if you have a really clear goal in your business that you'd like to work towards that is going to take a little bit longer and you have an idea of how you want to build up towards that, that's fine. I would say, especially for the people that are just starting out, don't worry about what a year from now is going to look like. Just think about the very next step ahead of you. Don't even worry about the next month. Do not even worry about like the next couple of weeks. Literally just take one step at a time. And as you take one step at a time, the next step unfolds right in front of you. There's no way you can plan this shit out. Trust me, I've tried. It's terrifying and it never goes as planned. I promise you, it's never going to go as planned. Some things might, but most of it is not going to. So allow it to unfold in front of you and allow yourself to utilize this time to build up this radical self-trust with yourself where you are able to take that in the direction that you want to. And if you make a mistake, if you need to realign, you get to go, oops, it's all right. I'm human. I'm going to learn from it. And this is what I learned.
Yeah, I love that. And so to speak to that a little bit more, when I work with clients, the two things that I always say, until you hit like even your first six figures, just focus on building relationships and up-leveling your service. That's it. Whatever your service is, just be so good at it that you are instantly referable. So we actually don't work off of any marketing, but you will almost never catch me talking about the agency on social media because we are word of mouth only. We've built into a multiple six-figure agency by word of mouth. And it shows the power of not just the spaces that we find ourselves in, because all of our clients, this is another thing I've been talking about a little bit, all of our clients are seven-figure business owners. None of them are in social media groups. And so, you know, it's elevating your communications with people. But when you get in front of people, like you have to be able to show up for yourself and for them, because if you're a service provider, which I think most of us are here, you're a co-partner and a co-pilot in the success of their business. So it's partly like creating businesses that are aligned with us, that don't burn us out, that feel good. And it's partly understanding that you are taking responsibility for the success of someone else's business or whatever it is that you do in your service.
Right.
And that's it. Like, just focus on that. Focus on building those relationships and getting really good at your service, because the more that you improve your service, like Tiffany was saying, like you get really, really good at understanding what their needs are. You can create guardrails to prevent any kind of things that, you know, could fall off to the side or slip through the cracks. And you can't do that. There's no substitute for just jumping in there and starting to work with people.
100%.
I mean, I think that's it. And you hit it on the head. If I could go back, I would stop trying to Google and Pinterest email marketing in the beginning. I would not, you know, start trying to figure out growth hacks. I have a friend who owns a seven-figure business, and she cracked seven figures with less than 1,000 followers on Instagram.
That's incredible.
It's doable.
It is so doable. Yeah, 100%. And that leads me into my next thing, which is don't feel like you need to have a niche or even niche down before you start your business. It is not necessary. It's a lie. It's a trap. You don't need to do it. And I will be fully transparent, because this is the way that I was taught from my first coach. And I thought that that was the only way. So I also taught it to my clients. I don't anymore. But there was a time where I thought that that's what I needed to do, right? And this isn't to say like, don't get specific on how you want to serve someone. I just mean that you don't need to get so narrow that you end up just putting yourself into this box and you're compartmentalizing what you do just for the sake of slapping a label on it so that it makes sense to somebody else. And who are we to decide who can come to us versus who can't, or who we can serve and who we can't, if we haven't even served those people yet? Right? Why don't you allow yourself to show up as the most aligned, authentic version of yourself and allow people to come to you instead of trying to filter out who can and can't come to you before you've even worked with clients? Like, how do you know that that's the thing that you want to do if you haven't experienced it yet? Right? For the people that maybe have had experience working with clients in a specific area, that can be a different story depending on what exactly it is that they want to create. right? But at the same time, I think there's so much power in allowing yourself to just have that experience and allow yourself to play around with it and allow yourself to have that trial and error, especially in the beginning, and not focus all of your time on, oh my God, I need a statement in my bio because that's going to make or break my business, because it's not. It's not.
And you can change your bio at any time.
I've changed it a million times.
Yeah, it's change outable. And I think that's really powerful what you're saying. And I don't think enough people are teaching that. But it's just as powerful to know what doesn't align with you as it is to know what does align with you. And you're just not going to know that until you get out there. Half of the problems you have are going to be things that you just, you're going to know not to pursue that in business in the future. And some of those things are going to be figure outable problems that come up no matter who you work with. And you need those experiences to deliver the best service possible.
Exactly. You have to have the experiences in the very beginning, especially where you are going, oh my God, I never want to do that again. I remember when I first started my business, I offered done for you services. I will never offer another done for you service ever. Like, I couldn't do it, right? It's not for me. There are some people that enjoy doing it, and like Instagram engagement, things like that, caption writing, like I didn't have it in. I wanted a coach. I wanted to be in that coaching position where I can guide someone through, have back and forth conversation rather than doing the work for them. I loved watching the breakthroughs that they would have when they would put themselves in the position of building that trust with themselves. And it was so beautiful for me. I just thought it was so beautiful. Do you want to answer this question that's here? How do you assure your financial needs are met in this process? Do you stay open to taking jobs in the meantime, release financial abundance goals, or release financial goals in the meantime, etc.? Yeah, this is a really good question. And I don't think that there's a blanket answer. I think everybody is in a very different situation when they're building their businesses. If somebody's coming from corporate, for the most part, a lot of people have at least a little bit of a savings that will hold them over. So, I mean, I wouldn't recommend, like, if you have literally nothing in the bank, just to like up and quit if you really know like nothing is coming in at all. Right? Like, you don't want to put yourself, especially if you've got kids, you've got, different people you're taking care of. Like, I get how that can be a really scary situation. So I would always recommend at least picking up something on the side. If it's not the job that you want to continue doing until you transition, like if you absolutely hate it or it's not something you want to do, pick up something on the side. If it's something that you actually enjoy, you just know it's not your dream job, then a lot of my clients end up staying in it until they know the exact date that they're going to quit. And so that way they're either building up some savings, they're cutting down and sacrificing some things on, the other end of their life, certain luxuries in their life that maybe they're not investing in so much anymore, and pouring that into building their business. I think it's really powerful, especially in the very beginning, to be pouring your money into mindset coaches and into a life coach or a business coach to really help you build that up in order to show up as the highest version of yourself, right? Because if you're just following strategy and you're not doing the mindset work, you're not doing the inner work, and you're not feeling like you fully can receive this transformation, it's going to be a lot longer of a process if you aren't doing that work up front. Would love to hear if you have any other suggestions too.
Yeah, so I kind of love Rachel Rogers, and she has this term called broke ass decisions. It's a bad decision. And so, if we want to show up as the best version of ourselves, we can make those choices now. And like, if we want to show up as $1 million me, it doesn't mean I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy like a Lamborghini. It means I'm going to make a choice from a place of abundance, not a place of scarcity. So if it feels good to keep working, or if it's something that you have to do to take care of yourself while you get your business off the ground, then that works. Roll with it. Because in the beginning, honestly, there's so many facets to growing and building a business. You're not going to get to a place where 80 to 90% of your day is your zone of genius until you start being able to outsource some of the crappy stuff that you don't like. Like, I don't know many people who are like, I live for taxes and I want to pay 30% taxes and love bookkeeping, but I had to do it myself in the beginning because it just came with it. It was the first thing I outsourced as soon as I could. But there's some periods where, and these are good periods, where you might have to have your feet in both worlds, but it helps with time management. And it pushes people, hopefully, it pushes people, this space that we're talking about where you just start working with people.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, you're probably not going to be scaling your business. You're going to be doing very high touch work. Like what you said earlier about you were doing the very hands-on high touch work with like engagement and it's done for you services.
Yeah.
And this is the work that I'm saying you should start doing so that when you outsource it or when you leave it, you know how to train somebody else to do it. You know how to build a team around those needs, or you just know, yeah, no, not for me. But the great thing about starting with high touch done for you services is premium products. So you can start charging premium prices right away.
Totally. Yeah. And then the same with coaching too, especially depending on how much experience you have under your belt. It is something that's how I was able to hit a 10K month in my second month of business and then hit six figures in about 8 months. It's very simple. And as long as you have really good brand messaging around that, that's what I teach my clients. And that's how they're able to hit 10K months so quickly is like, we overthink it. Like we really do. It's not that difficult, especially if you're applying that mindset work and you're doing the healing, you're doing that attraction work. It's so simple. And I teach this in my academy as well, which I'm really, really excited about. Any other tips that you have in mind?
Yeah, I love what you actually started off with when you're like, I just jumped in. I really think that, like you said just now, we just make it so hard and we don't have to. I really think there's so much value in just jumping in and failing up. At this point, I think I have failed so many times in my business that I'm just not afraid of it anymore because I do it like almost daily at this point. I talk to no one when no one's listening. I, just throw things on my IGTV. If people don't see it, they don't see it. I build and I launch and then I reiterate. Like it's just business. And I think one of the most powerful messages of this talk today is not making it mean anything about you. Just fail up and jump in. At this point, when I do coaching sessions and, we uncover some dirt, mind trash that I've got going on, and they're like, this is a decision made out of scarcity. I am literally blown away. Like, because I'm not a scarce person in my head. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not afraid of failure. But there's still a lot of stuff that creeps up. So I guess the two takeaways that would love for everybody to hear is just get out there and fail because you're not going to be perfect out the gate. You probably don't want to be perfect at your first iteration of a business.
Yeah.
And get that mindset work. You got to get your mind right and stay on it. Like every level that you up level into is a new mindset that you need to uncover. And you want to be working on your mind constantly the whole way through.
100%. I think that's so powerful because again, like I said earlier, you can have all of the best strategies. You can have all of the like to-dos and, maybe you look up to someone and they did it this way and these are all the steps that they followed. You can't replicate that, right? The people, the coaches that show up and say, oh, this is the strategy that worked for me. This is how it's going to work for you. You just have to do X, Y, Z, and you're going to get to blank. It's bullshit. It doesn't work. Everyone needs to fail in their own way. You have to. There's no way around it. If you want to build a successful business, you have to fail in your own unique and special way. And for me, I look back and I don't even use the word failure. Like, I don't feel like I've failed in my business because I don't notify or like apply that label of failure to anything. I've made mistakes. I've had 0 signups. I've had 0 clients at one point. I've had $0. I've had months that were double what I had the month before and then would go back to what I had the month prior and just up and down finances, right? Every single thing's happened to me in business, but I don't sit here and I don't beat myself up about it. What happens a lot is people are not okay with making mistakes. So they make a mistake and then they spend extra time beating themselves up over it instead of just taking a learning from that and going, okay, this is the learning I'm applying and this is what I'm going to go do and realign. I'm a 3-5 profile as well. I'm a 3-5 generator and I'm literally meant to fail. And I do all the fucking time. And that's how I've learned so much and I've grown so much in my business. Like, it's insane. Like, 6 figures in 8 months. I was on food stamps making $20 an hour. Okay. And then in the next 4 months after that, another 6 figures. This year is already about to be a $200,000 year, right? This is not anything that I could have ever done if I wasn't okay with making a hell of a lot of mistakes and just putting things out there, learning and pivoting quickly, and being able to apply those learnings as I continued moving forward. If I sat there every single time with what I was doing, I would literally drive myself crazy. I wasn't taught to embrace my emotions and how I felt growing up. So a lot of this is actually self-coaching, right? Like from the life coach model, it is self-coaching myself and recognizing that I'm going to build this beautiful, radical self-trust with myself every single time I make a mistake, and I'm going to get the fuck back up, and I'm going to do it again and again and again. And so I don't let my 3-5 profile, and I don't let any of the things that happen to me hold me down, because I know at the end of the day, it is how I approach it. It's how I apply it and keep going forward.
Love that. And I love that vocabulary shift. I feel like I should probably apply that. The where you're like, I just don't see the word failure anymore. I kind of love that because I don't feel like my failures are failures, like you said, and there's power in vocabulary. So I'm taking that one home with me too.
Yeah, please do. Please do. I think that's so empowering. And I teach something in my academy. It's called the anti-failure model. And it's literally the idea that you do not fail. You learn, you make mistakes, but you do not fail. And so you allow it to be the thing that teaches you. It's a message that teaches you how to move forward and how to continue going with the feedback that you've been given. So instead of failure, instead of mistakes, it's feedback that you're taking that will help you to redirect and realign if necessary. And it allows you to just keep going, which I think is so powerful.
Yeah, I love that. Do you want to talk a little bit about your program? Because I'm not super familiar with it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm bringing up the Academy a lot, which is not launched yet. That's coming in August. And I keep talking about it because I'm building it and I'm like in it 24/7. So it's like all that's in my mind right now. It is essentially an upgrade though from my current 8-week program. So instead of 8 weeks, I'm making it 11 weeks. I'm upgrading a lot of the content that's inside. And I'm launching it as an academy that is either a self-paced, so you do it self-learning, or you're inside a group program where you get group calls and hot seat coaching and bonus content. Archiving the program that I'm currently been running, and I'm going to be launching this academy on a launch basis, and then a launch is coming out after that as well. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. It is essentially the academy that will help you activate your business from the very start. So creating it, identifying what you want to create, what the program or the service is going to look like, and then building the content around it, stepping into your highest self and identifying what that even looks like, what that even feels like, what your aligned client is looking for, as well as how to market yourself, how to step into flow inside of your business, and also learn about ethical coaching. An activated CEO looks like in order to launch your business and to sell your business in a very soulful way that's full of integrity, which is so important to me and my brand values, and creating brand values for the students in order to show up and adhere to them, right? Because I think a lot of people, especially if they've come from corporate, they're like, how do I show up professionally? And I'm like, you fucking don't. Why would you want to show up professionally?
Fine. You can go on Instagram Live in a tank top. It's not a problem.
Right. Yeah. I'm literally never wearing a shirt. So I show my students, my clients, and the members how you show up in adherence to your brand values and your very human values to who you are, rather than trying to show up professionally, which again is derived from privilege. I talk about this a lot on my page. So some of the people here might already know it comes from this place of privilege that was created back then, that served white men. It was created by men for men and excludes people of color, excludes women. And so I think it's really important to think about, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for my specific business and me uniquely, and showing up in that way and asking, is this the way that I want my community to view me and build trust with me? And if you've got that, then you're good. We don't have to try to fit ourselves into yet again another label to be viewed societally acceptable.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that if people can find you and start taking that at the beginning, then instead of dismantling their old beliefs and dismantling parts of their business that they've created using borrowed corporate beliefs, Like they're so far ahead of the game because that's really what we're doing here is we're disrupting everything that we know
Yeah,
from like that we're indoctrinated from a very young age. And
exactly.
building the business that we want to build because it works for us, not because somebody did it before us.
Exactly. And I think especially as women too, right? Like that is something that I feel like is so extremely powerful because like even the financial structure, not to mention the 5-day work week was created by men for men who had testosterone cycles that activated every 24 hours. When for women, it is a lunar cycle. It takes a month, right? So we actually need to allow ourselves to take more time and rest our bodies because our energy and hormone levels are different than those of men. But nothing has changed because it was created by men. And now women have this invisible second shift where they do work and then they have the kids where they're still continuing to work and expected to do both. And they're saying, oh, well, it's equal. Like, no, the fuck it's not.
It's not. It's so far from equal. I love that. I mean, I'm lucky. I just don't cook. Nobody in my family wants me to cook. So I don't do like normal second shift work. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think so many of us, it's kind of like what I was saying about like the 40-hour work week and everything like that. There's so much I hate about it. Like
it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Like, why would you want to spend 40 hours away from your family or away from your hobbies or whatever you want to do? If you want to sleep like 12 hours a day, how are you going to do that working 40 hours a week? I don't know.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. There's so many shifts that need to happen. And that's why I serve primarily women because I believe that because women have been excluded for so long in this structure, when women are financially literate and they're able to build businesses that light them the fuck up and feel really, really, really good, and they know how to attract that abundance, the vibration of the world literally rises. And so I think it's so powerful to recognize that and to recognize that for so long, women have been seen as, wives and homemakers. And if you're building a business, oh no, you got to stay home and take care of your family. Like, no, fuck that. I get to do what I want to do, right? I get to build my business and be a badass fucking mom. And so I think that there's so much power in seeing so many women do the things that feel so good to them and allow them to show up in a business that also lights them up and teaching them how to do it and watching them blossom. And if the thing they want to do is stay at home and spend more time with their children, then that gets to be a beautiful thing that they get to do. So yeah, I think you get to rewrite or write out what that future and reality looks like for you, right? You get to decide that. You get to manifest that into your life.
Yeah, I love that. I just heard a statistic 2 days ago. I forgot what it was. I'm going to butcher it. But something like 80 to 90% of women who create wealth for themselves give back and reinvest into the communities, girls, other women, as opposed to 35% of our male counterparts who only 35% of men actually reinvest their money back into other people. So when women make more money,
I saw that.
Stabilize. Where was it? What did we see?
I feel like I saw it on a Forbes article, but I don't know if that was the original article. I think it was somewhere else, but someone was linking to it because you're so right? Like women handle money in a completely different way and they pour it back into communities. Women are at their core so much more collaborative. Men are raised and taught very, very differently. They're also taught to get away with more things and not take responsibility the way that women are taught to take responsibility as a whole. Right. I think it's so important for women to be more financially literate and to build their businesses in a way that is just so powerful. I honestly feel like it's everything. It's why I love doing the work that I do, is seeing women come into their full form, essentially, and their highest self. Like I'm on the board of this nonprofit that one of my friends started. It's actually called Women Enabled Enterprises. And I'm the social media chair. And the nonprofit helps South African women that are more on the low income side to fund and build their businesses from the bottom and have the education and the knowledge to launch their products, their services. And I get to help them tackle the social media part and reach people all around the world. And it gets to be this really powerful thing where marginalized communities and people that have been marginalized for so long, since the financial structure and systems have been created and the workforce has been created, to be empowered to do the things they've always wanted to do and have always experienced limitations. And now there are so many more resources. And I think the more that we're becoming aware of this, the more we can literally raise the vibration of the conscious collective, the entire universe.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like I can talk to you about this literally all day long. Like everything we've been talking about, I'm like, okay, we could literally talk about this all day long. It's so
I didn't realize the time went by so fast. But yeah, I love this. This is such a good conversation. Thank you so much for joining me on this.
Thank you
for
having
me. It's been so fun.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave with any closing remarks? Anything that you want to share with the audience? Any like life mantras or last lessons?
No, I mean, I really think that we hit everything on the head in the conversation, but we also work with only women. I only employ women. And so I love the work that you do. And that's why I was like, listen, we need to get on a live together and we need to talk about this.
Yes.
Because more women making more money. No, I think we covered everything.
I think so too.
Okay.
I think so too. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you to everybody who's joined us. I appreciate you all. Love you all so much. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.